Let me talk about a little bit about the four basic, I used to say the four basic food groups, the four basic techniques for playing either harmonica. And one, not necessarily in this order, but one is to be able to play one note at a time, which in my industry we call it single notes. So if you're getting sounds like, where'd the, oh, here it is, it's hiding. If you're getting sounds like this, now that's basically more than one note at a time, and that's a chord sound. Anytime you play two or more notes in music on any instrument, it's called a chord. And with harmonica, you can do that. And that sounds good, but it stops you from getting to where you probably want to get, which is playing cleaner notes, and which makes your melodies and your riffs and your jamming more recognizable with single notes. So you can hear the melody better, and whether you do that on chromatic, diatonic, or chromatic, you'll want single notes. What happened there? I press the button in and it puts me in a key which is 1/2 step above what I was just in. So naturally this is a key of C chromatic, and so when you just blow and draw on it, you basically get the key of C. That's what you get. So the four basic techniques for playing harmonica would be, let me do one little teeny thing here. Okay, there we go. I just went to full screen here. Just sort of helps me see what I'm looking at a little bit better. There, I'm in full screen. Isn't that exciting? Oh, tell us more, Dave. No, that's plenty. So single notes, really important for diatonic and chromatic. If you want to keep going, you'll want to get a better sound, and that typically comes from good breathing. And breathing, simply put, for harmonica means not sucking and blowing with your lips and at the front of your mouth. Because what most people do naturally is this. When we really want, see how much better the sound is. And all of these things are interconnected. I'm going to tell you about the four basic techniques, and they are all interconnected. So without good single notes, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to also get good breathing. Because what you want to do to naturally enable good breathing habits is to, let me just do this. Okay, there, that's better. I like that better. Is to get the harmonica further into your mouth. And the further you can get the harmonica into your mouth and maintain one note, the better, period. So that's what you want, further into your mouth. So notice, here's what a lot of people in books, videos, YouTube still recommend, and it's not very good. It's what some people call whistle method, or lipping, or lip blocking, or pucker method, and they do this. They make a small hole with their lips and put it over the hole. Notice how thin that sound is. And you can see my lips are barely touching the harmonica. So you don't want this. We want this. Incorrect? Correct. Now, I won't go into too much detail now because I'm going to try and cover the four basics, but essentially I teach a method called the vertical slot. And essentially what you're literally doing with your mouth is creating a vertical slot. And that's why I called it vertical slot, because that's what you're doing. You're not using your lips actually at all to play the single note. You are doing this. And you said, well, wait a minute, if I don't make a small hole with my lips, how do I only get one hole? Well, we know that there's no sound that comes out of the top part there or the bottom, just where that hole is. And what you're trying to do is keep the other holes from coming in. So all we do is we essentially block out, and I'm on hole 4, 4 blow and draw on a standard C diatonic harmonica. And when I do this, I'm really like this, and the corners of my mouth are blocking out hole 3 and hole 5. So that's how I get just that one note. And I can go from here to, see how far I can get it into my mouth? It's kind of hard to show with the camera, but I'm not using my tongue at all. My tongue has nothing to do with it. It's because I'm using the corners of my mouth to block out all the holes outside of 4, because I just want 4 right now. Blow and draw. On hole 4, C, D, C, D, C, those are the pitches. C, D, C, D. So the corners of my mouth block out 3 and 5, and then my mouth isn't even over, 2 and 6 and all that stuff. So it just doesn't matter. So when you get the harmonica further into your mouth, you are more naturally enabled to breathe properly. And breathing properly just means if you take your mouth, you drop your jaw all the way down, as far as you can drop it, and you keep it there, and you try to suck with your lips, you can't. It's not possible. So in order to get good, clean single notes, you want to get the harmonica as far into your mouth as you can. And when you bypass your lips in the front of your mouth, you cannot do it incorrectly. You have to then, it forces you to breathe. That is, exhale and inhale through the harmonica. So again, incorrect with the pucker or lipping method, correct with the vertical slot. And just hear how much better the sound is. So if I'm playing in second position or cross harp and I'm doing blues type stuff, you get that nice big full fat sound that you hear professional players get. Now there is another way of playing single notes that is certainly legit, and it's called tongue blocking. I'm not going to get into that right now, but most pros tend to do the vertical slot or a slight variation of it, but it's basically that, or tongue block, but most of them do both. And some people just do one or the other, but for the most part, we do both based on what it is we want to happen. So tongue blocking is very, very cool. I'll give you an interesting example. I'll stick with the Oh Susanna because I've been doing that. And now I'm tongue blocking. I'm basically covering 3 holes of the harmonica, putting my tongue over on the far left side, and I'm playing out of the right side of my mouth. Now, this is great for special effects. It's not as good for some other things, and I won't get into the detail at the moment, but trust me, there's reasons why both have advantages and disadvantages over the other. So check out what happens. On tongue block, you'll still hear those nice, clean, clear single notes, but then I'm going to add some extra stuff to it. whoops, I never get that last note. Okay, so that's tongue blocking, and there's, just nice little treats you can get with tongue blocking. So if you're serious about harmonica, I suggest you learn both. They both work on diatonic and chromatic, and they're both excellent for some things. And you say, well, if you get all that fancy stuff with tongue blocking, why even do that vertical slot thing? The thing about vertical slot, and I know this after over 40 years of teaching, it's very, very, very difficult with tongue blocking to learn to bend notes, which most people, they like that bending sound. And that's what a lot of people like out of the harmonica. So the big advantage of the vertical slot is it makes it easier to learn to bend notes and to bend notes. Is it impossible to bend notes with tongue blocking? No. That's me tongue blocking, and I'm also moving my tongue back and forth and doing a technique I use called tongue switching. So you can hear I am bending while I tongue block. So there. Now let me get back to four basic. See what happens? I have to remember to put my hand like right in the center of my body, because if I put it out there, it's still working today for some reason. But some days it just kind of disappears. Okay, whatever. I'm a liar. But anyway, the reason the reason I was saying this earlier, the reason that the four basic techniques are so important and they connect with each other is because, let's say you want to bend notes. It's really difficult to learn to bend notes without getting clean, clear single notes. And it's difficult to get clean, clear single notes without good breathing. So the good vertical slot will helps give you good breathing. As long as you get away from pushing and pulling the air with your lips in the front of your mouth, it helps you with that, and that enables you to bend better. So here's me doing it not as correctly as I should. I'll do 4 blow and then 4 draw. And by the way, all these things are long stories, but essentially the 90% of the bending done on a diatonic harmonica is done on 2 draw, 3 draw, and 4 draw. And if you're not familiar with the term draw, that just means inhale. So 2 draw, 3 draw, that's where we do most of the bending. So if my single notes are not very good, and which means then my breathing's not very good, I'm doing that. See, I'm pulling the air with my lips in the front of my mouth. I want to breathe the air in. So when I try to bend, if you don't have good airflow, you get this. Here's with the pucker method or lipping method. See, the more I suck and the more I tighten, the further I get away from being able to bend notes. Now I get it further in my mouth, so I'm breathing. So they are interconnected. Without good single notes, you're unlikely to have good breathing. Without good breathing, you're unlikely to be able to bend. And there's one, we can take it one step further for the fourth of the basic techniques, holding the harmonica. And this is why it's a little different than what a lot of people do or say. Okay, it looks like Ron left. Thanks for coming by, Ron, but you're gone now anyway. So there's still 2 of you here, so hang with me. Let me see, what time is it? I'll go a couple more minutes, and then I actually do have to go and do a couple of other things. But I will be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time, and then also this time on Thursday, it's 6 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. So tomorrow, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. I'm just doing a bunch. I'm trying to figure out which times work best for me and for other people. So anyway, the fourth of the basic techniques that helps put all this together is I've been saying that in order to get good bends, you need good breathing. In order to get good breathing, you need good single notes. In order to get good single notes, you need to do a vertical slot and get the harmonica further into your mouth. You can see how far I've got it in my mouth. But if I want to get it really far into my mouth, I have to hold the harmonica in such a way I can do that. And if I hold the harmonica like this, I can't get it very far into my mouth. If I hold the harmonica like this, which I don't really suggest you do, then what happens is I have a big hole there. And if you want to get hand effects sounds, that whole sound is based on a change of volume, which means you've got a large airtight cup and you're trapping the sound inside your hands and letting it out. So you want a large airtight cup when you're putting your hands together, and I've got a whole video class on this at harmonicalesson.com in the members area, and a bunch of pages and photographs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm holding it a very, very specific way. I'm not doing this because then I can't get it very far into my mouth. And if I hold it like this, it looks good from the outside, but a big hole there, and I get a vibrating sound, but I don't get that nice big fat tremolo sound that a lot of us have heard over the years, especially with that sort of old Western campfire sound. So I hold it this way. I let it sit on this little flap of skin right there, not in there, but on top of that. I don't know. I'm sure there's some sort of medical technical term for what that flap of skin is, and I don't know what it is. You'd think I would know after, I don't know, 45 years of doing this, but I don't. So I set it there, and then I take my thumb and my forefinger, and I hold it. I grab it on. Let me see if you can see it here. Yeah, you see how the ends kind of bevel up? Well, I hold it there, and that's kind of why that's there, so you can rest your finger and your thumb against it. So now, if you look at the top and you look at the bottom, if I can turn that around, yeah. So you can see I've created a lot of space for me to put the harmonica into my mouth. So that's really good. And I've got my hands like this. So I've got, sorry, this is sort of hard to do. It's a little awkward with the camera position. So I get a nice airtight cup. In fact, let me show you. If I'm talking like this, so I've got my hands open and this is full volume. And then if I continue to talk, but I do this, I'm basically muffling the sound, right? So if I go, all I'm doing, I'm just going, and I'm trapping the sound in there and then letting it out. So you create a large airtight cup and you get that kind of nice, interesting, it's called hand tremolo. Some people pronounce it tremolo, whatever, it's the same thing. But anyway.